we're going to discuss how to drop and hook a trailer from a commercial truck. So we'll start out right here with the coupling devices, with the glad hands and the electrical line. First thing we'll do is remove the glad. Today we're going to discuss from the trailer. And we'll remove the electrical line by lifting this spring-loaded keeper, pulling the electrical line out. We'll slip these into the dummy couplers, which is on the tractor. Lock in the glad hands into the dummy couplers, just like that. Next thing we'll do is go ahead and lower the landing gear. The landing gear has 2 speeds to it. If it's pulled out on this particular truck, it's in a slow gear, which means it's able to lift a heavy load, but it turns extremely slow. The high speed, which is on this truck pushed in, allows you to turn it faster, but it wouldn't lift as heavy of a load. So we're going to lower the landing gear all the way to the ground, being careful not to let the landing gear handle hit your body. I'm going to lower the landing gear down to just about 1 inch off the ground. That will allow the trailer to drop slightly when we pull out from under. So it's just barely touching the ground up to about 1 inch off the ground. At this point in time, it's time to pull the release handle. It's right here for releasing. On this one, you'd have to lift up and pull out, and it'll lock in place. If you were to pull on this handle and it wouldn't come out, that means that it's in a bind. So most of the time, you would have to get in the truck, put the truck in reverse, leave the trailer brake set, back up gently against the trailer, just enough to release it and set the brake, and that should release the pressure and allow you to be able to pull out from under. So at this point in time, we have our brakes set on the trailer. The brakes are set on the tractor at this point in time. Now we're ready to pull out. So when we pull out from under the trailer, we're only going to pull out just enough for the trailer to come off of the skid plate. Here's the skid plate right under here. And we'll stop with the tractor, so if it were to fall, it would rest on the back of the frame of the tractor here. So I'm going to crank up and pull up. The previous video, I backed up until you heard the locking jaws lock around the shank of the kingpin. So if you look under here, the release handle is in the lock position at this point in time. The only way to be sure that the locking jaws are locked around the shank of the kingpin is to go underneath the truck, make sure the wheels are chopped, go underneath the truck, look up on inside of the locking jaws and make sure you can tell that they're locked around the shank of the kingpin. Then we'll come back out. At this point, we'll go ahead and hook our glad hands and our electric line back up, removing them from the dummy couplers. I usually go ahead and plug in the electric line and let the spring keeper hold it in place. If you notice how we hook up the glad hands, take it all the way to the sky at a 90-degree angle, and you should be able to pull straight down on it and lock it in place. This is the emergency line. Hook it up the same way. Now we'll go raise the landing gear. If you notice when we backed under it, it raised the landing gear about 1 inch off the ground. So we're going to put this in the high range speed since the weight is already off the landing gear. And we should be able to raise the landing gear all the way. So when we raise the landing gear, we want to raise it all the way to the top. If we had a really heavy load and it was bearing down on the ground, we would have had to use the low range to get it up off the ground. Okay, we'll lock our landing gear in the holder so it's properly stowed. Also want to make sure our landing gear feet are clear of any obstructions or rocks or anything that could come off while we're traveling. So that's the way that we would drop and hook a trailer.